Who are you people?
The first big collaboration for the Marvel-Netflix partnership brings us The Defenders. And as TV generally goes nowadays, you can bet it won't be the last. Now, spoiler warning for all 4 of the Marvel shows involved, as I may bring up key events from each of the individual shows. I might not, but forewarning, just in case. So, The Defenders. We have Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. 4 vigilantes and 4 very different people. In the beginning, you would wonder how on earth the 4 of them would ever cross paths together. Jessica and Luke are understandable, as they already have before, but Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones, Matt Murdock and Luke Cage, Luke and Danny Rand, they all live vastly different lives. So what was it that had them all find each other? It was the familiar enemy in that of the Hand. Viewers of Daredevil and Iron Fist will know this villain all too well. They've been ever present throughout Matt's journey, and they are the sworn enemy of the Iron Fist. Those two you could understand crossing paths if the war ever came back to the streets of New York, and that was exactly what was happening. The Hand was moving forward with its plans. Why? Well, you would have noticed by now that its leaders are seemingly invincible, with some being killed multiple times already. But here we learnt that the substance they used to bring back one another had been exhausted, with the last of it being used to bring back the Black Sky. Sometimes it does feel a bit cheap when villains or even heroes who are killed off seem to just keep constantly returning from the dead. It negates the impact that those deaths have in their respective shows. I don't think it's reached that point yet in these Marvel shows, but let's for example say Bakudo returns again in the future. It just makes what happened with him here and in the first season of Iron Fist completely pointless. That said, I don't see him returning again. I expected him to show up here after his corpse was dragged off towards the end of Iron Fist's first season, and with how Daredevil season 2 ended, Elektra's return was blatantly apparent. And she especially is central to the Defenders' story. She was brought back by Alexandra, the true leader of the Hand. She expunged the final resources of the substance to bring Elektra back, much to the ire of her other Hand associates, with Gao and Bakudo being a couple we've met in the other shows. Now the problem that I have with Alexandra is she never did anything extraordinary to suggest she deserved holding the mantle as leader of the Hand. She was becoming weak compared to her partners, and as a character in general, even if she was played by TV legend Sigourney Weaver, it was a great actress playing a quite bland villain. And what the hell, it shouldn't surprise me by now because it's happened before, but once again they pulled the old kill who you think is going to be the main villain to have another take their place. It's not the first time that they've done it in these Marvel shows, Luke Cage being the prime example, but the twist to have Elektra turn on Alexandra caught me off guard more because I thought they'd keep Sigourney Weaver around till the very end. So they had some stones to do what they did there. So the Hand's goal was to replenish the stock of their substance, the door to which was hidden deep underneath New York, and they needed Danny the Iron Fist to unlock its door. And so the Defenders are brought together in an attempt to finally rid the city of this nefarious group. Predictably, the 2 best characters are Daredevil and Jessica Jones, in that order. Daredevil stands out for me as the best show of the 4, with Matt feeling like the heart of this story, and his conflicts with Elektra echoed back heavily with the show's second season. Jessica and Luke felt like misfits in a way, in the sense that neither of them had a clue who this enemy was. They got caught up to speed pretty quickly once the 4 of them found each other, but unfortunately Mr. Danny Rand was, as everyone expected him to be, the weakest link in the group. He was just so frustrating to watch at times, always being agitated by the simplest of things. And talk about hot-headed. Jesus, there's a reason every single person you run into keeps telling you to calm the hell down. And he just ended up butting heads with everyone, and especially with Matt when they wanted to hide him away to keep him from the Hand's grasp. That was a smart idea. They couldn't progress with their plan if they didn't have the Iron Fist. But Danny didn't want to listen. He wanted to go all lone wolf as he normally does, and he got his ass completely handed to him by the superior fighter. And I am so glad they had Matt whoop his ass in convincing style. Danny thinks it's his destiny to destroy the Hand. Well, think again, buddy, because Matt Murdock's been fighting them off whilst you were still training in Kunlun. So the guy knows what he's doing. Listen to him. Stick showed up to further reinforce the Daredevil vibes and was as ruthless as ever before. He wanted to remove Danny from the equation so the Hand couldn't get their hands on him. Pretty standard Stick thinking, although I'm sure a lot of people will agree with him. And it's a damn shame he was killed off, Stick that is, when he and Elektra fought. He wasn't a particularly nice character, but Stick is someone Matt has had around for a huge part of his life. We are yet to see the repercussions truly reflect on Matt. He had a brief moment of realisation of losing someone else who was close to him, but he didn't have time to dwell as the city was at stake, though I expect Stick's loss to be brought up in Daredevil Season 3. Now, as mentioned, Elektra was a huge part of this series. She died back in Matt's arms at the end of Daredevil Season 2, the finale ending with Elektra's body being put in that coffin thingy by the Hand. Her return was not at all surprising, and her remembering her past memories was a nice touch to the times her and Matt were able to share together. You could see that she was torn with what to do. Was she to find the substance or return to Matt's side? He was desperate to get through to her, even risking his own death by remaining behind to fight the Hand and Elektra in the finale. So, does this mean that Elektra is Elektra again? Is she still conflicted, and what could be in store next in her and Matt's story? Now, I understand that ending with Matt waking up with the nun watching over him is from a comic, something to do with Born Again story, is that right? Tell me if I'm right or not, I just read that somewhere recently, but apparently that particular story is heavily influenced by Wilson Fisk. Perhaps he's going to make his return at some point down the line? One can hope.
I'm all out of calm.
My overall verdict for Season 1 of The Defenders is a weak 7 out of 10. If I had to rank it between the other Marvel shows, I would say it's better than Iron Fist, but none of the rest. It wasn't that far behind Luke Cage in a matter of fact, but it was more so on similar ground to the second half of his first season. And no need to say it, but it doesn't even come close to Jessica Jones or Daredevil's 2 seasons. It took a couple of episodes to get going and a couple more before our characters all met each other, and once they did, we only had 2 or 3 episodes left before we were already approaching the end. As each of the individual stories go, Jessica Jones and Daredevil had the best openings, making the most sense, whereas Luke Cage's, as I knew it would, felt rushed. He was sent back to Seagate at the end of Season 1, so that impactful ending was robbed from us essentially when The Defenders as a series was first announced. He was never going to wind up in prison for long, but here we had Foggy bailing out in what, like less than 2 minutes? And just in general, the show left me wanting more. Some aspects were fun, some were more disappointing. I have actually been enjoying the Hand as a villain throughout these different series, but Alexandra fell flat in the end. Though in contrast, Madame Gao has been one of the best recurring roles throughout the entire series. So now with the organisation shattered, I wonder if or when they will return in each of their respective shows. For now, I would presume only that they will resurface in Iron Fist, since it's his destiny and all. Because we're never reminded of that, are we? Now, thus far, I haven't really spoken much about Jessica Jones or Luke, because Matt and Danny were and have been involved with the Hand before. And that's as much as I can say really. Luke acts more like a frontline tank to occasionally shield the team from bullets, and Jessica gets the odd occasion to showcase her strength, one cool moment being her holding up that elevator in the finale. And aside from that, there's not really much to talk about with them, because if they weren't pushing the boundaries for this team up to happen, you could have easily removed both of them from the equation. Side characters wise were an issue. Foggy continued to be a bit of a wet blanket, always trying to guilt trip Matt to stop him putting on the suit. Karen was alright, though she was also on the trying to stop Matt putting on the mask bandwagon. Trish was fine, but good lord, Misty Knight really was pissing me off. She did not need to be there, and the interrogation scenes in the police precincts had me going, woman, just please shut up. Not a good outing for her character here, though she did make a noble sacrifice to save everyone's favourite nurse by losing her right arm. Claire, of course, as she always is, was awesome, and Colleen was kick-ass for the minor screen time she was allowed to receive. She felt underused a bit, but perhaps that's because I see her more as a main character than I do the actual Iron Fist. The show's humour aspect, however, was strong here. Jessica and Matt swiping jibes was really funny to watch, and you had Luke and Danny's bromance blooming from the off. Each of them played a role in this team, but as a big Daredevil fan, I am really glad that they made Matt the best fighter, because he just is. They got their little four-way hallway scene, which we knew was inevitable, with Matt facing off against Elektra and the others fighting off all the goons. It was one of, if not the best sequence in the season, and the only other one that jumps to my mind that came close to it was Matt squaring off and schooling Danny. And sorry I have to, but another example of Danny being a complete moron has just came to my mind. Telling Elektra that when he was tied up and that he knew what she wanted and that she wouldn't get it, then proceeding to summon the Iron Fist anyway, the thing that she needed to open the damn door. Just idiot. Buffoon. Though I am very surprised we didn't see a cameo from Frank Castle. I didn't think they could resist the temptation, but props to them. They actually did. Good on them. It would have felt forced, to be frank. Hey. But there was simply no need to have him around. His journey needs to be fleshed out alone before he can get more appearances in these other shows. So thank you to the writers for not forcing him in there. Though do check it out because the after credits scene in the finale did give us our first teaser trailer. Some final thoughts to cap off on. Gao isn't dead, I'm pretty certain of that. Danny is still an idiot, Colleen still remains the best part of the Iron Fist series, Claire is a boss, Matt is the man, and Vincent D'Onofrio better return as the Kingpin later down the line in the Daredevil story. He's immense and should be the final hurdle in Daredevil's final season. We know they've got to do Bullseye at some point, but the question is when. Now, whether the Kingpin does return 2 to 3 seasons down the line from now, just make sure he gets his grand return. He damn sure deserves it. That'll do it from me. What did you guys think of the team up for the Defenders? Which of the 4 shows is your favourite one and why? And do you think there will be another team up in this Marvel Netflix future? Perhaps will there be a Defenders Season 2 and would you even want that? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review. And I'll see you on the next one.
The scarf looked better. Nice ears.
They're horns.